I'm a monster. Wow. This is insane. All right, ready? Hey everyone, I am Nate and welcome back to Planet One Up. In today's video, we are going to be having a look at the top 10 worst Christmas movies of all time. There are some really weird movies on this list. Some of them you might not expect. Let's jump into number 10. In at number 10 is The Santa Claus 3: The Great Escape. Not a great way to end the trilogy, but not a movie that was unexpected. The first movie where Tim Allen accidentally kills Santa Claus was fantastic, and the second where he tries to find love was alright. So the third falling flat in 2006 is fair. Jack Frost plays the villain of this once-loved franchise who steals the job of Santa Claus and his workshop to then turn it into a year-round theme park. His entire motivation is that Santa Claus gets all these nice things and people loved him when he gets nothing. So what does he do? He goes back in time to kill Santa Claus instead so that he can be the next Santa, turning Tim Allen back into a normal human. It definitely felt like an attempt to make some money from the franchise that originally had so much heart. It sucks that it scored 17% on Rotten Tomato. In at number 9 is the Star Wars Holiday Special. Welcome to the movie that George Lucas doesn't want you to see and is trying his hardest to remove from the internet. This is the weirdest and worst piece of Star Wars content ever made and one of George Lucas's greatest regrets. It's a super weird movie around Chewbacca's wife, child and father are waiting in their treehouse for him to come home, along with Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Princess Leia, C-3PO and R2-D2. While they wait to celebrate Light Day, aka Christmas, the mum watches a cooking show. Some Imperial guards drop by. We see a Boba Fett cartoon. The dad tries out some interesting VR, and the kid plays with his toys. That's pretty much the whole movie. The way it ends is everyone being there to celebrate Light Day and singing Christmas carols. It's a mess. So much of a mess that it received a 19% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes after 16,506 votes. In at number 8 is Santa with Muscles. This is insane. All right, ready? This 1996 movie is a little bit of a weird one, receiving a 23% audience score. WWE star Hulk Hogan plays Blake Thorne, a self-made jerk millionaire that, while running from the law, tries to disguise himself as Santa Claus. During his attempted escape, he bumps his head, gets amnesia, and awakes thinking that he is actually Santa Claus after being convinced by a shopping center elf. He slowly starts to regain his memory, but is warmed by Christmas spirit and decides to be a better person. He then finds out that the orphanage that he grew up in is being targeted by a group of evil scientists. You might be wondering why they want to destroy the orphanage. Well, there are many magical crystals underneath the building and the scientists want to harness their energy. Not everything goes to plan though. The scientists are arrested, but the orphanage was destroyed. Recently becoming a good person, the millionaire opens up his mansion and takes all of the orphans in. In at number 7 is Jingle All the Way. I'm a monster. Wow. This entire movie is based on the craziness that is the mad dash to purchase items just before Christmas. Except it was made into a 90-minute film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was loved by the public, probably because of how relatable it was, but it wasn't really loved by critics, with many saying that people fighting for gifts is funny to see, but it shouldn't have been turned into a film. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad as two rival fathers trying their hardest to get their hands on the must-have Christmas gift for young boys, a Turbo Man action figure. This might be the perfect example of the difference in perspectives between the public and critics, with it getting a 15% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Not much else can be said about the film. In at number 6 is Jack Frost. A man dies in a car crash accident and comes back to life as a snowman. That's the premise of this fantasy/comedy/drama that was released in 1998. It should have also been a horror film. Look at how absurdly terrifying that snowman was. I'm happy to see Michael Keaton's career didn't take too much damage from this 7% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, as you might know him as the Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming. The story is a bit more than just that. Basically, the father is an aspiring musician who misses his son's hockey game for a chance to progress his career. Realizing his selfishness, he decides to rush home but dies in the process. A year later, he is revived as a snowman thanks to a magical harmonica, and it continues to stay a little weird with the rest of the movie. In at number 5 is Santa Claus from 1959. This movie actually goes by another name, Santa Claus vs. the Devil. This Mexican-based fantasy film received a 26% audience approval rating and hasn't been critiqued by critics, and I can't imagine why. So, Santa Claus works in outer space, right? But he has to battle a demon called Pitch, who is one of the henchmen of Lucifer, sent to ruin Christmas by killing Santa and making all of the children on Earth commit evil deeds, like not making their bed or doing the dishes when asked. Now that I've said it out loud, I can see how it might be seen as a little weird. In at number 4 is Surviving Christmas. So Batman, aka Ben Affleck, wasn't always the dark, brooding type, but used to appear in quite a few romantic comedies back in the day. This 2004 film scored a 7% from critics and 29% approval rating from audiences around the world. It was such a bomb that it spent more than what it made at the box office. Basic story: wealthy executive disappoints girlfriends with tickets to Fiji instead of making plans with family and dumps him. To try and sort himself out, his therapist tells him to go back to his childhood home to air his grievances and to grow as a man. There he finds the home occupied by another family that he then pays $250,000 to pose as his family for Christmas. The rest of the story continues to be a mess. In at number 3 is Deck the Halls. This is a pretty cliche story that doesn't land well at all. Released in 2006, one man strives to cover his house in so many lights that it is seen from space at Christmas, while his neighbor goes out of his way to stop him just because. But while he attempts to get in the way of his neighbor's plans, he puts himself into some really awkward situations that just makes him look like an idiot. They both like Christmas in their own way, but the movie comes across as just a little too mean and doesn't really hit the mark when it comes to reminding you about the Christmas spirit. It failed to do so much that 83 critics gave it an average of 6% approval, while 55,707 voters gave it an audience score of 30%. In at number 2 is Christmas with the Cranks. Jamie Lee Curtis and Tim Allen decided that Christmas is all a bit too much. They're done with the hustle and bustle, so decide that they're going to skip Christmas and spend it in the Caribbean. This doesn't go well with their friends and neighbors, so they decide to remind them what Christmas is all about by making their lives an absolute nightmare in attempts to get them to conform and celebrate Christmas just like everyone else in the cul-de-sac. Though it aims to be a comedy, it really isn't that funny at all, and it's just adults bullying other adults to follow the expectations of others. Talk about holiday spirit. I hope they didn't see the score of 5% they got on Rotten Tomatoes around Christmas. Before we reveal what number 1 is, what have you thought of the list so far? Have we accidentally put some movies on this list that shouldn't be on there? Have we missed any? What other lists should we do? Let us know in the comment section down below, but it is now time for number 1. In at number 1 for the worst Christmas movie of all time is Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas. We all need a little faith on Christmas, but I didn't know we need it in the form of a faith-based Christian Christmas comedy starring Kirk Cameron as a fictionalized version of himself. Kirk's fictional brother-in-law goes on a venting rampage, stating everything that is wrong with the holiday and its links to Christianity, which is where Kirk comes in to save Christmas by putting Christ back in Christmas. The whole thing is supposed to be a cross of comedy and education, as it states that everything related to Christmas is biblical in origin and criticizes the current perspectives against the holiday. It received a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes and won 4 awards. These awards include Worst Picture, Worst Actor, Worst Screenplay, and Worst Screen Combo, which was awarded to Kirk and his ego. Big yikes. That is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you like, as well as subscribe and hit the bell icon just down here so you're notified when we upload more videos just like this one. I am Nate, this is Planet One Up, and we'll see you all next time. Bye. If you enjoy our top 10 videos or any of the other videos that we do, you might want to check out these ones over here. If you want to keep being reminded, head on over to the channel to be subscribed and follow us on Instagram. We post content everywhere. You should check it out. Who knows? You might actually enjoy some of it. Big if true.